Welcome back to the Richard Sherman Podcast. We got another great guest, the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold. Appreciate you joining me, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, you have had such an incredible journey from San Clemente High School to the Seattle Seahawks. You know, you've had your ups, you've had your downs. Just take me through, how it's kind of helped mold you as a person, a player, because a lot of those moments, I could be an old guy and be like, kids these days don't know how to get through adversity, but you've been through so much and shown perseverance, strength, grit, all those good things. Yeah,
no, for sure. I think at the end of the day, it really starts with how I was raised, how I grew up, my family, my older sister showing me the way when she was, playing volleyball, all the sports that she played growing up and how she got through things. Mentally, physically, all that, those are the people who kind of helped me get to that mindset of just, never stopping, no matter what happens on the field, off the field, life goes on. And as long as you have, it's an old cliche, but as long as you have great effort and a great attitude, that can take you a long way. And that's kind of been my mindset throughout my life, really, not just my career, but and then along with family, I would say friends, having a really tight circle of really good friends that I can lean on in tough times, and friends that also bring me down. They kind of keep me level headed when I, have success as well. So, I got great friends, and then, obviously, this, as much as anybody, but just playing this great game, you get to know, and you get to be around so many great people, coaches, players, the people in the building, guys like EK in the equipment room. And, there's just so many people, so many great people in this industry, in this business. And, I'm just so, grateful, I think, at the end of the day, to just be a part of it. So I think that mindset also helps kind of whenever you're going through tough times to be able to dang, man, I'm so grateful to be in this position that I'm in. So why not just give it my all every single day?
Oh my God. Can't wait to clip that. We'll make sure we have that, because that should be everywhere and be said to everybody, because that's a lost part of it. People don't appreciate just the ability, the blessing to get a chance to go out there and compete and be healthy and have a shot at it. I could say I would have dreamed of your scenario, going to SC, hometown kid, getting to be the quarterback, being a top pick in the draft. Walk me through your draft day. I know you've probably told the story a million times, but there's just like 1,000,001 for me.
The draft day?
Yeah, because that had to be cool, man.
It was sweet. Yeah, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that, again, like I just mentioned, I got to experience that with my family and my friends, and guys that I did draft training with were also able to be in that same room. Guys like Josh Allen.
Multiple guys?
Well, in our draft, not at USC, but
no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Where are you training?
Yeah, Josh Allen and Kyle Allen. They were able to be there, and Josh obviously got drafted by the Bills in the same draft, and so it was just a big celebration that night, and it was great. And then I was on a freaking early flight at I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know how much sleep I got, probably an hour or two of sleep, and was able to get out to New York and do that first press conference there. And that was for sure a blur to do that. But just that draft night and that experience, with my family, grandparents, high school and college coaches there, that was an experience I'll never forget.
We're gonna just blur through the whole New York experience. That's a chaotic environment in itself. But we get to Carolina now. And it's fun. Hindsight is 2020, and it looks so hilarious now that you're starting here, Baker's starting, doing great in Tampa Bay, but you guys both go to Carolina, and it's crazy. It's crazy for what was that? 20?
Yeah. So 20. We played y'all, right? Yeah. You were in Tampa. Mm-hmm. And that division was not good that year. No, and so we had a chance to go to the playoffs. I remember because Baker started that year. I had actually gotten hurt in the preseason. I was out for 8 to 10 weeks with a high ankle sprain. I end up coming back. The Baker thing happens the year that he goes to LA. Mm-hmm. And I believe you're on that team, right? In 22?
Yes, I
am. And so Baker goes to LA. PJ Walker gets a couple starts. I go in, and I think we end up going, 5-2 or something like that, the last 7 games. And we actually have a chance to be in the playoffs if we just beat y'all in Tampa.
Right.
And I think we were up like 24-10 going into the fourth quarter, and then bang, 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 Tom Brady and Mike Evans.
Yes.
You know, I think 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden we were down 10 with like 4 minutes left.
Because we needed it to get in too. We were
exactly.
right on the edge. You're right.
Yeah. So if we beat y'all in Tampa that, you know, second to last week, we just had to go to New Orleans that next week and beat them, and we were in. And so that was a huge game for us, for me. Like, who knows what happens if I win that game and win the next one, we go to the playoffs. Like, you know, life is just crazy that way. Cause, you know, I'm not sure if I would even be here if that were the case, but those years in Carolina, man, to your point, what you said before, like, I'm so grateful for just being there and learning that system with Coach McAdoo that year. Getting to meet Baker, who I'm still really close with to this day, PJ Watt, like all these guys that I met in Carolina, like, I just had such a great experience there. In terms of, you know, getting to meet so many great people, play really good football the last half of the year. And then I'm sure you're going to get into it, but going to San Francisco that next year, learning a ton of great football. So it all just, you know, it all snowballs into a great thing.
But it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful, like, when you're writing stories, there's cool. If it would have went one way, that's a cool story. You stay in New York, have an illustrious career, play for 10, 15 years and retire. That's a cool story too. But I think it's always a better story when, you know, there's rarely a story or a movie you watch where you're like, something has to go bad. You know, it's not going to just be, oh, this is great. Everything's great. It's fun. And then at the end, happily ever after, you're like, something bad is going to happen. Right. I wonder when it's going to happen. Like, he's going to lose. He's going to get injured. He's going to do something. And then the beautiful part of it, the part people love, is the comeback. And talking about your time in San Francisco, you go there, you back up Brock Purdy. That seemed like the end of Carolina seemed like your start of your ascension. You get to San Francisco. It's Kyle's scheme. It's a great scheme. It seems like it's quarterback-friendly scheme. I tell you what, you are one of the players he was most in love with during his time. I promise you there was nobody else he talked about more that didn't play for our team.
Yeah. No, Kyle's a man. Again, just, you know, happy that they were able to bring me in. And, you know, we were unsure about Brock's elbow at the time. You know, I thought I could potentially maybe go there and start, you know, for, you know, 2-3 games, you know, depending on Brock's situation. Obviously, very thankful that he was able to come back the way that he did, super strong, lead us to a Super Bowl. Obviously didn't get the job done, but no, just that year was incredible to be able to learn, you know, football from Kyle, from that entire staff that was there, Brian Greasy, the Kubiaks, Clint, who obviously we're with now, but you know, that was just a great experience, and being around those players too, like some of those dogs that are on that team, like getting to experience what they do every single day. Like Nick Bosa, I think, lifts 5 days a week during the season, which is insane. And to witness that, and he lifts, like he gets after it. Yes. He's squatting like 315, front squatting.
They think his legs just accidentally got that big. They're like, oh yeah, Bosa's, that's natural. No, it's not.
Yeah. No. So like Saturday, I'll, you know, always remember, you know, Saturday after the walkthrough, then he starts his workout after the Saturday walkthrough where you're supposed to go chill before we go to the hotel for meetings. Bosa's in there working out. It was really cool to be able to see all those guys and the work, and everyone does it different, you know, like Bosa's working out, you know, you have Christian, Fred, like all these guys resting and doing their thing, getting all their fancy treatments that they did. And, no, it was just really cool to see these guys work. And that was another cool part about, being in that set.
And it's just interesting how Kyle runs meetings and things like that. He's like totally teaching the whole team the whole time. He's doing it. He's explaining outside zone, and while the drift route is backside is wide open, you're like, the whole team's in here like, yeah.
You've sat in one of his meetings.
We have to. He used to do it in team meetings.
It's pretty incredible the way that he can talk about run game. Right, for sure.
He's incredible. Then you go to Kevin O'Connell, who's another branch of this tree. There's an injury to the rookie because it was supposed to be rumored that there's a battle going on. He goes out. It's your team. It's your helm, and you have an unbelievable 14-win season and a credible run. Walk me through that, because again, coming from off a Super Bowl team to go on another dream run, it had to be like, oh man, I'm floating.
Yeah, it was really, you know, obviously the thing with JJ was unfortunate, but to be with that team and, you know, for literally it was just us that believed in ourselves. You know, it was a classic, like, no one's believing in us. We're just going to go out there all alone and do it ourselves. And, you know, we started off that year 5-0 and everyone's like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, why not us kind of thing. And so it was really cool just to be a part of that last year with, again, I keep reiterating it, but like great people, you know, like great players, great coaches, great people in the building. It was just amazing to be able to work every single day with those people, get in the routine. And yeah, just, I think the football that we played was incredible as well. Like being with Kevin and in that system, getting to see a different side of it, because at the end of the day, like Kyle's system and Kevin's system, you know, it's pretty similar. Like the McVay tree and Kyle's, like it's similar, but it's a little bit different. And so just to see kind of the pass game come together the way that it did last year, it was very eye-opening to me. And, you know, it allowed me, and again, this is credit to Josh McCown, who is my quarterback coach, but it allowed me to play really fast and on time, which is, you know, it really changed my career.
It seems like you're still playing fast and on time.
Yeah.
You got here. Talk about the decision to come here. I know you've spoken about it because you've been interviewed 1,000 times about it, but it seemed like it worked out so perfectly, you know, with Geno and DK and all this. It kind of seemed like the cupboard was bare and I didn't know what direction they were going. Obviously, you had conversations with Minnesota, so it seemed like there might be a chance you stay. And, you know, obviously they got McCarthy coming back, so nobody knew how that would go. Talk about coming here and the relationship with Kubiak and how that kind of went into it.
Yeah. You know, I won't go into too much detail about, you know, free agency and stuff like that, because again, like you said, people have heard about that. But just, you know, I knew there was an opportunity when I heard, you know, talks about the Geno trade and my agents, you know, telling me certain things and, you know, just, hey, Seattle could be a potential spot now. And I was like, okay, cool. And, you know, the more that, you know, time kind of ticked, you know how free agency is. It just kind of, do you know how free agency is?
Yeah. Once. I've only
okay, one
once.
time. Yeah. Yeah, that's very awesome that you got it one time. Right. That was, yeah. I've been dealing with it the last like 3 or 4 years, so it's been great.
Yeah, you won't probably deal with it again. And if you do, it'll be for a lot of money.
Yeah. No, but it was crazy, man. Just like everything, it happened so fast. Yeah, just, I think that was it. You know, the Geno trade happened and I could, you know, kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit. And then especially with Clint being here, obviously I knew how great Mike and his defense was last year going against them. Just the multiple looks. I can go on for days about his defense, their scheme, the way that those guys play, the great players that we have over there on defense. But I was very excited to be able to work with Clint. And get back in the system that we had in 23 with a few wrinkles in it.
Right.
And our skill guys, you know, I'm very excited about the skill guys that we have: receiver, tight ends, running backs. Got a couple fullbacks as well that have been playing really well, and our offensive line. I feel like the way that our offensive line has been able to play, you know, obviously in OTAs, but now in training camp, the way that they've, you know, put together a solid like 3 weeks in a row of like communicating on certain run games and, you know, pass protection. Like, you know, if I can hear them making calls and like, it's awesome when you hear one guy make a call and everyone goes quiet. Like no one's talking after that. Like the center makes his call and everyone's like, all right, we're on the same page. And it's very comforting as a quarterback when you see all those things going on, you see it on tape, it's confirmed on tape. And I feel like I can feel pretty good about, you know, going into this season.
That's music to my ears, music to the fans' ears, because that was the biggest concern coming into this season. It was an issue last year, especially interior pressure on the quarterback. And, you know, Geno was under duress quite a bit, and, you know, it led to some tough plays, and he tried his best. But it seemed like they solidified that. Then you talk about Abe getting healthy. Mm-hmm. Abe getting healthy, he's a freaking beast. You saw he played last week against Max Crosby, and Max Crosby was really going. You know, Max Crosby never not going. Yeah. So it just looks like they've got the right pieces in place. Guys want to play for each other. Obviously, Charles Cross, you got the rookie in there at left guard, and he's doing well. He had a solid game, but that's music to our ears because now you can open up that run game, and the run game has an identity. And you got two really good running backs in Charbonnet and K9. Talk about them and how cool it is to play with them.
Yeah, I think you just said it though. Like the run game when you have a good run game, and you know this playing defense, like when you have a good run game, that opens so much up. I mean, you can keep her off of it. You can play action. All of a sudden, then you can start dropping back and letting it fly over the top, because now these teams are forced to play in single high. They need to, drop a safety down and help in the run game, maybe pressure, and you get some, 3 deep, 3 under kind of looks. And, that's really advantageous for an offense. And so I think for us, it's just like, having that run game as an identity, and then just building off of it every single week, just stacking those weeks, stacking those days really of really good practice and prep. But to actually answer your question, K9 and Charbonnet have been amazing. I knew they were great backs, but to see what they can do outside of, running between the tackles has been amazing. I feel like they've been such weapons so far in camp, just catching the rock outside of the tackles. And, I'm excited about what they can do, this year. It
was a cool quote you said, and I want to get to my last question, but you were like, you had a check down that went for like 13 yards, and you were like, hey, earlier in my career, I'm not sure I would have gone for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
It's just talk about your growth and your maturity. But now you got Cooper Kupp, you got JSN, Arroyo looks good. There's been a lot of guys showing up in this training camp. Horton has run some with the ones, and you've been dropping dimes and talking about processing. I've been out there the last couple practices, and it just looks like you know where you're going. You're moving guys. You're in such a great command. Is that just the off-season work with the guys? Is that just an understanding of the system and having answers and just being an experienced quarterback?
Yeah, I think it comes with experience for sure. I think the system really allows, me as a quarterback to be able to play on time. And I know certain coverages, like I'm not going to get my number 1 progression, but I don't want to move off of number 1. I don't want to go to number 2, on the plant. If I'm like, okay, 3 plant to number 1, hitch to number 2, second hitch to number 3. If I plant to number 2, like that's, we're out of sync then, and the receiver's not going to be ready for the ball. And so I think just the way the system's built, what Clint and the entire staff have been working so hard to do is make it seamless for us to be able to, have that timing without having, necessarily a ton of reps, to be able to, because we're going up against guys like, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, who have thousands and thousands of reps together. And so you got to somehow have that timing in a system, to where you can just go out there and expect a guy to be, over the ball. And I can get to him on my second hitch, and it's like second nature. He's catching it. He's knifing up the field and getting 8 yards on a first down play. So, I think it's system based, but we spend a lot of time in the off season together, just throwing and catching. And, that's always great when you can spend time, outside of the building with your guys. It's
cool for you to get to see you shine and get to see your talent flourish in the way the expectation has always been for you. It's really cool, and I consider me a fan and very impressed and very happy for you. Thank you for joining me today.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.